Welcome back to the Blissful Badger. With the knowledge that a new edition of Warhammer 40,000 is just around the corner, maybe 3 months or so, maybe 4, how should I go about planning for the best results in army construction? What should I be doing in my hobby right now to get ready for that next edition? Knowing that the rules for 10th edition are nearing an end, it isn't a bad idea to still get some games in. There are a lot of basics that can be used even in a different edition. Measuring and rolling dice and strength and toughness and all of this stuff. It's a fairly common through thread with Warhammer in general. So it's not the worst thing to just get games in if you want to play. However, I know a lot of people are looking at their armies and going, well, what am I going to be able to do with this? How should I go about building an army at the moment? What do I do with the armies that I have? And I might not have a perfect answer for you, but for me, the biggest thing is this is a perfect time to just work on whichever items make sense to you. What interests you the most? Because you're not trying to chase the meta or build the strongest army for 11th edition. We don't know what that's going to look like yet. I have some thoughts on what an army will look like in 11th and what will be great and what won't. But this is the freedom to do whichever things interest you the most. What do you think you have that, what model is the most interesting to you? Do you want to paint a flying hive tyrant? I mean, I should get to painting some of those. But anyway, back on track. So, with this open availability, there are a few things that I'm going to focus on. And they might be a little bit different for you. I'm currently working on, what a wild idea. I am going to try to finish painting the Tyranid half of the Leviathan box before the next launch box comes out. The Space Marine half, I'm probably not going to finish. Not all of the models went into any of my 3 Space Marine armies, so it's a little bit less functional to get all of them done. But the Leviathan half, the Tyranid half of the Leviathan box, I should probably get done before whatever the 11th edition box looks like. So that's one thing I've been focusing on. Another is I want to get my drop pods converted up into the new rules. I currently have 2 in my collection, and these are the older ones, and the base size is not the same, but it isn't too hard to take this old one and turn it into a new one by giving it a new base. So the way that the old drop pod was designed, it has this little spot right here where the door comes down, and technically the new one just has that part still attached to the top, and the door only comes to here. And the base size is it fully open without that extra inch on each of the flaps. So I'm going to glue this shut and have a base that is the right size that I can put this on. I'm not going to keep it mounted to the base, but it'll be the right footprint, and I'll just place it down. And this needs a little bit of work. I need to repaint it a little bit. Same with this one. But they both should have a functional footprint, but still be using the old kits. So that's another project that I have. Because finishing something that you already have going on, it's a perfect time to do that. It's one less project on the table for whatever the new cool thing you want to do for 11th is. And that comes to my next plan. I started a Grey Knights army in 8th edition, and it is mostly built, but I have 14 models still to go. Several of them are already built, and I just need to get around to finishing the painting. Like this kit bashed Castellan Crow that I have. I do also have one of the new Castellan Crows on sprue. It's a painting project at some point, but it's not actually part of the army. But I also have 2 baby carriers, Dread Knights, that they're already built and primed and in sub-assemblies, so I can paint them easier. And between that and a unit of the jump pack dudes, like this army, I started in 8th, and I need to just finish it. Like, I don't plan on adding anything else to this army. It has 2 Dread Knights, and it has a whole bunch of infantry, a couple of units of Terminators or Paladins, a couple of characters. But overall, this army just needs to be finished. It has a different playstyle now compared to what I used to have. And it's 14 models, and I have 3 to 4 months. This seems like a reasonable project, because whatever the next edition has, I'll make do with whatever I have in the collection. It'll be a finished project. And again, if they change the rules again, I mean, they went from having a whole bunch of psychic and a bunch of hammers to being a teleporty army. Like, everything is teleporting. That's what the current Grey Knights game plan is. And so the way that I designed this back in another edition is going to be a different playstyle in whatever edition it is. So just having it done and having it so I can just be complete with an army, that's a pretty heavy-duty thing to just be done with, you know? So, between the drop pods and the Leviathan models and the Grey Knights, all of these are great ways to complete projects. We have 3 to 4 months. Just complete some projects. And if you don't have any projects to complete, or, I could easily paint more Von Ryan's Leapers. Oh, I also have to paint the Psychophages. But, more Von Ryan's Leapers, or, I have some Carnifexes here. I have a Broodlord and a bunch of Gene Stealers. These units aren't going anywhere. It makes sense to just pick one and paint it if you're feeling that drive. And if you're not really sure about 40k right now, what about finishing off an Age of Sigmar project that you might have sitting around? I have the Auric Spearhead in parts, And, this might be the right time to do Age of Sigmar or, any other game system. If the drive to paint is there, but you're not really sure what you want to work on, there's nothing saying you can't work on a different game. It gives you that time in the hobby. You're still building and painting, getting things ready for games. But it doesn't have to be that 40K if you're expanded beyond that one universe of game. There's so many things out there. I'm still working on my New Year, New Army. My Leagues of Votann are getting my third unit this month. Technically fourth. I have a character in the second month, but it's just find something that interests you. It doesn't have to be chasing the meta or making the best army you can right now. Anything is available to you right now. It's not just that small focus. This is the best time of the year, the cycle, to explore. Do something different. Don't worry about it right now. You don't know what the rules are going to be like. Anything could be a thing that is usable. So dive into a project that interests you outside of how competitive is it. Make that cool conversion, or paint the unit that you've had an interesting idea for, but you just haven't gotten around to it because it's not the perfect thing for your army. This is a free play time. Just do whatever interests you. It's great at this time of year, this part of the edition. Because who knows what it'll be like. I'm really looking forward to seeing how my armies will change in the next edition. I'm hoping that certain changes happen where maybe Endless Swarm actually becomes a thing. Because for a very, very short period of time, I could bring back multiple units of Endless Swarm. Just a very, very small portion of time. I'd love it if it was still a viable option. So, but yeah, what is the most interesting thing for you right now? Take a look at your projects. See what you want to do. And do that. You have so many different options available to you. So just choose one that most interests you and don't worry about it. Because there's going to be so many new things coming out in several months. We're all going to be at the same level of play. We're going to have to figure out how our codexes work, how our armies run, what is good and what isn't. But we can be thematic and we can just do whatever we want to start. And it's going to be great. I do look forward to a new edition and the possibilities that it has. Like, the 10th edition rule system had some strengths and some weaknesses, and certain armies were better than others at certain times, and we're going to have that again in 11th, but which ones and how they play, it's all in the future. So embrace that freedom and work on whatever interests you right now. Subscribe if you haven't, so that you don't miss any future videos. I also want to thank my patrons and supporters for making these videos possible. And until next time, I hope you find your bit of bliss.